Welcome to Garden Crafts. Imagine turning your everyday plastic waste into something magical. At Garden Crafts, we believe that beauty doesn't have to come from a store. It can begin with a bottle, a brush, and your own two hands. In this video, we'll take you on a joyful journey through 18 incredible DIY garden projects using plastic bottles. From glowing bottle mushrooms and whimsical flower ladies to pastel lanterns that dance in the wind, these ideas are simple, stunning, and absolutely doable in any small space. You'll find real-life inspiration, not polished perfection. Every project here is meant to be tried, adapted, and made your own. Whether you're working with your kids, setting up a cozy garden corner, or just looking to add a spark of charm of what you already have, we've included timestamps so you can jump to any project that speaks to you. And if you feel inspired, don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop us a comment. We read them all. Your creativity keeps this channel blooming. So wherever you're watching from, grab your bottles, breathe in the garden air, and let's turn trash into treasure, one soul-soothing project at a time. In a modest corner of family backyard, a row of yellow plastic bottles beams with unapologetic silliness. Their round faces, wide eyes, and outrageous grins aren't just hand-painted, they're heartfelt. This little collection of emoji bottles didn't begin with perfection in mind. They started as an idea from a rainy weekend, a few leftover bottles, and a box of paints borrowed from a child's forgotten art drawer. Each bottle now stands proudly on a garden path, like miniature performers in a playful lineup. One throwing a wink, another bursting into laughter, while another rolls its eyes like a comic relief character waiting for applause. They're ridiculous in the most delightful way. You can see brushstrokes where someone giggled mid-paint. Some faces are a little crooked, but that's exactly what makes them real. Placed near a garden bed filled with marigolds and basil, the bright yellow forms create a stark contrast against the green, a pop of joy in every glance. Children love them, pointing out their favorites, and adults can't help but smile at their exaggerated moods. They're more than decorations. They're a reminder not to take life so seriously. The magic here is in how simple it was. Clean your bottles, paint a circle of yellow, sketch a face, and seal with varnish. No precision tools needed, no perfect symmetry. Just joy, expression, and a willingness to reuse with love. In the end, these emoji bottles stand as quiet companions in the garden. Faces frozen mid-laugh, waiting to share a smile with whoever walks by. They don't need words. Their expressions say it all. Trash? Not anymore. These little bottles have found their purpose, spreading laughter in a place where life grows wild and happy. As night softly falls over the garden, a quiet enchantment begins to glow beneath the leaves. Nestled among the stones and creeping thyme, small bottles glimmer like constellations caught in glass. These are no ordinary bottles. They once held soda and cleaning fluid, forgotten, tossed aside, their purpose emptied. But now, beneath brushstrokes of midnight blue, plum, and a dusting of silver glitter, they breathe again. Someone took the time to swirl stars onto them, tiny dots, spirals, and shimmer trails. You can tell they weren't done in haste. One bottle leans slightly, its paint uneven. Another has a faint thumbprint where someone touched it too soon. These imperfections don't ruin the magic. They deepen it. When dusk falls and the garden dims, these galaxy bottles take on a new life. Tucked inside are simple solar tea lights, nothing fancy, just enough to glow. The light pushes softly through translucent color, creating orbs that dance along the path like cosmic fireflies. They don't shout, they whisper, drawing your gaze with slow, celestial pull. What makes them special isn't just their beauty, it's their rebirth. Something that was meant to be discarded now helps create an atmosphere of wonder. Kids ask for their space bottles. Grown-ups linger just a little longer on the way inside. Everyone, for a moment, remembers to look closely. You don't need to be a painter. Just a little black and purple, a sponge or brush, and a story in your mind. The stars. Let your bottles become planets. Tuck them between your plants and let them glow. Because sometimes the smallest lights are the ones that make a garden feel infinite. In a quiet corner of a home garden, the flower ladies stand watch, not as statues, but as companions. shaped from ordinary bottles and given life through paint and care. Each one seems to whisper a gentle story to the blooms around them. Their faces smile softly, eyes wide, lips curved, cheeks touched with pink. And though their expressions are simple, they carry warmth as if they're truly glad to be here. These bottle dolls were gowns of color, some dressed in painted roses, others wrapped in trailing vines. Their hats, fashioned from cut cardboard or painted plates, rest delicately atop their heads like Sunday bonnets. No two are alike. Some dresses feature tiny polka dots, others painted lace or sunflower motifs. One has a crooked smile. Another's hair is made of curled paper yarn. But none of them mind their imperfections. That's what makes them charming. They're not hidden away. They're nestled among petunias and parsley, peeking from garden corners or lying along the picket fence. Visitors chuckle at their personalities. Children wave hello, and gardeners, when they pause to prune or water, find themselves talking to them as if they're old friends. This project wasn't about perfection. It was about joy, about taking what was discarded, a soda bottle, a scrap of ribbon, and imagining a character into existence. With a few paints, a brush, and a bit of time, something lifeless became a symbol of care and creativity. And when the breeze stirs their paper hats or rain gives their cheeks a bit of shine, they don't mind. They remain quietly watching over the garden, reminding us all that beauty blooms wherever kindness touches it. There's a kind of softness that only the garden understands. Not loud or showy, just quiet gestures of beauty. Along the back edge of the rose bed, a row of pastel-painted bottles stands in gentle silence. Their colors are whispers, blush, lilac, cream, brushed on by hand and finished with satin ribbons that catch the light like morning dew on grass. These bottles were once harsh and bright. Their labels screamed in reds and yellows, their shapes forgotten in the recycling bin. But a simple vision, a wish for calm, perhaps, transformed them. One by one, they were cleaned, primed, and bathed in soft tones. The strokes weren't perfect. Some dried unevenly. A ribbon might sit askew, but that's the charm. They don't try to be flawless. They simply are, placed beneath a climbing rose. They do not compete for attention. Instead, they offer harmony. Their presence quiets the space around them, inviting reflection. Guests often ask, "Where did you get these?" And the answer is never store. It's always a moment, a weekend afternoon, a paintbrush held loosely, a breath exhaled while tying a bough. They become part of the garden story now. Not just decor, but a memory made visible. The kind of beauty that lives in intention, not perfection. This project asks little. A few old bottles, pastel acrylics, and ribbons from forgotten gifts. The result? A display that soothes, that invites the eyes to pause and the heart to breathe slower. And in the hush of sunset, when the shadows lengthen and the roses sigh, the pastel bottles glow, softly, warmly, like kindness made visible in glass. At first glance, it looks like a party, a colorful, sugary celebration rising from the soil. But look again and you'll see it. Recycled bottles reborn as joyful scoops of summer. Vanilla, strawberry, pistachio, and chocolate. None of them edible, yet all of them delightful. These ice cream cone craft began, as most sweet things do, with a bit of playfulness and a spark of imagination. Each bottle was split, shaped, and painted with love. Waffle cone textures were etched with thin brushes and patient hands. The creamy tops dripped down in pastel layers, sealed with a coat of clear gloss to catch the light. No two cones are the same. One leans slightly. Another has a smudge where the sprinkles ran, and that's part of the charm. Like a real ice cream cone on a hot day, just seconds before it melts. Children adore them. Garden visitors do a double take and smile. They add a burst of humor and warmth among the greenery. an unexpected twist that brings out the inner child in anyone passing by. What was once destined for the landfill now stands proudly in a bed of basil and lavender, a bottle of cola, a cleaning spray, a water jug, all repurposed, all celebrated. This DIY idea doesn't ask for perfection or money, just creativity and a little joy. Use what you have, paint what you feel. Let your garden become a place where fantasy lives side by side with ferns. And when the sun hits the bottle cones just right, they glow like something magical, like laughter frozen in time, like the sweetest reminder that even trash can taste like summer, if you're willing to look twice. There's a certain joy that only clowns can bring, not the kind that hides behind circus curtains, but the kind made from scratch, from scraps, and from laughter shared over brushes and bottles. In this garden, that joy takes shape in the form of bright-eyed, wide-grinning bottle clowns, standing like a parade frozen mid-March. They began as empties, bottles rinsed and saved, waiting for purpose. Then came color. Stripes, polka dots, mismatched shoes, and oversized ties. Their faces came last, each one unique. Some goofy, some sly, some utterly delighted to simply exist among the daisies and grass. A touch of yarn becomes hair, a pom-pom becomes a nose, and suddenly, the yard feels like a festival. These DIY bottle clowns don't sit behind glass. They belong in the dirt, the sun, the changing weather. Their paint may fade a bit, their hats might tilt, but they carry the kind of charm that doesn't demand perfection. It welcomes whimsy. They're garden companions, joy bringers, conversation starters. Children love to name them. Grown-ups find themselves smiling at the unexpected silliness. And you, if you kneel close, you might just feel the same light-hearted spirit that filled the air the day they were made. To make your own, all it takes is a bottle, paint, and your most playful mood. Let go of symmetry. Lean into the absurd. Give each clown a story, even if only you know it. Because sometimes, amidst all the planting and pruning, a garden needs to laugh. And sometimes, laughter comes best in the shape of a red nose and a painted-on smile. There's something undeniably hopeful about balloons. They rise. They float. They don't ask for attention, yet you can't help but smile when you see one. In this garden, that spirit is captured not in air, but in the humble form of reused plastic bottles dressed in soft pastels and topped with gentle little balloons. It started simply. A bottle, a coat of paint, lavender, mint, peach, a ribbon from last season's gift wrap, a balloon saved from a birthday box. Together, they became more than parts. They became joy and stillness. Each bottle is a quiet guest at a perpetual garden party. They don't sing, they don't shout, but they lift the space around them. The ribbons catch the breeze. The balloons sway gently overhead. Some tilt slightly in the soil as if mid-dance. And even on cloudy days, they bring a kind of quiet celebration. They're not flawless. The brushstrokes show. The knots and the ribbons are lopsided. But that's the charm. It feels human, honest, like a gift made for no reason except to spread a little light. This project is wonderfully simple. Bottles you'd normally toss. Balloons you'd usually forget. A bit of paint and care. And suddenly, the garden transforms, not with grandeur but with cheer. A patch of grass becomes a gathering. A flower bed becomes a party. And the act of making becomes a memory. They don't last forever. Balloons fade. Paint chips. But for a while, they lift the mood, the space, and perhaps even the heart. Because sometimes, happiness doesn't need a reason. It just needs a ribbon, a balloon, and a bottle brave enough to wear both. When the first leaves turn amber and the days begin to slow, something magical stirs in the garden. Not spooky, but sweet. Nestled between marigolds and fallen petals, a coven of tiny witches appears. Their hats are crooked, their smiles wide, and their origins unexpected. Bottles once discarded, now enchanted with paint and play. Each one tells her own story. The bottle with the gold star hat, she's the one who guards a marjoram patch. The one with moon patterns and sparkly cloak, she watches the compost spin like it's a bubbling cauldron. They aren't frightening. They're friendly, funny, and a little mischievous, just enough to make you glance twice and grin. Making them felt like casting a gentle spell. A base coat of dark color. A paper hat folded from a cereal box. A cape made from an old gift bag. You don't need much, just imagination and a bit of glitter if you have it. The more handmade, the more delightful. In the golden haze of autumn, these little figures blend into the garden like they belong. Their hats flutter in the wind. Their eyes catch the last light. Children name them. Guests chuckle. You might even catch yourself whispering hello as you pass. They're perfect for seasonal magic, especially when Halloween nears. But even beyond that, they remind us what creativity can do. They take what we might throw away and transform it into something with personality and joy. And when night falls and the air smells like wood smoke and ripe tomatoes, these bottle witches stay quietly in their spots, casting spells not of fright, but of warmth. Because sometimes the best kind of magic is made by hand, with a bottle, a brush, and a spark of wonder. Some ideas don't start with a plan. They begin with a pile of plastic caps, a sunny afternoon, and a moment of pause. What if, instead of tossing them, we turn them into blooms? And just like that, a fence once plain became a row of flowers, made not of petals and stems, but caps once twisted off and forgotten. It's amazing how bottle caps, so small and common, can become something joyful when viewed through a playful lens. Each flower atop the fence is a patchwork of color, one red with purple tips, another made entirely of mismatched greens. No two are the same, yet together they form a rainbow running along the top of the garden. There's something soothing about making them, sorting caps into color families, arranging them into petal shapes, hot glue gently bonding plastic to plastic. The process is simple, meditative even. There's no rush. You make one, then another, until your collection grows. Suddenly the fence, once overlooked, becomes a gallery of reuse and creativity. Neighbors stop to ask, "What are those made from?" And the answer brings a smile every time. Kids point and count petals. Garden visitors take pictures. And you, standing there with paint on your fingers, feel a quiet sense of satisfaction. This isn't just about decoration. It's about turning waste into wonder. It's about reclaiming the small things, giving them meaning. And most of all, it's about the joy that rises unexpectedly from everyday objects when you dare see them differently. Bottle caps, a glue gun, a bit of sun. That's all it took to make a fence bloom. Tucked against a sun-warmed brick wall, a weathered garden shelf holds a gathering of painted sentinels. Plastic bottles, yes, but more than that now. Their bodies are streaked with color. Floral bursts, trailing vines, joyful patterns that speak of time, care, and hands that don't mind getting dirty. These aren't store-bought decorations. They're guardians of green, made with purpose and affection. Each one has a name scribbled in paint. Hope, Mary, Time. They don't speak, but they feel like they could. One leans slightly. Another carries a crack patched with glue, but they stand nonetheless, witnesses to every sprouting seed, each gentle harvest. They mark time not with ticks, but with the passing of blooms and seasons. Creating them was simple: a wash bottle, a splash of base color, a steady hand, or a brave heart to paint swirls and flowers without worry for perfection. Maybe you listened to the wind while you worked, or maybe music drifted from an open kitchen window. You remember the way the brush felt: light, imperfect, human. Now they sit quietly, but not forgotten. Visitors often smile at them. "Did you make these?" they ask, and you nod, maybe a little sheepishly. But inside, you know the truth. These little guardians hold more than paint. They hold stories, afternoons of creativity, moments of stillness in a busy world. You didn't need anything fancy, just intention, color, and a shelf to set them upon. And so they watch the garden. They watch you, not loudly, but patiently, as if to remind you that growth takes time, beauty doesn't have to be perfect, and joy can be found in the simplest of repurposed things. They march in a cheerful row, red and round, with black dots as proud as polka dots on a vintage dress. These little ladybugs don't fly, but they bring movement all the same, drawing eyes, inviting smiles, brightening the edge of a humble garden bed. They began as forgotten plastic bottles, the kind emptied and tossed without thought. But someone saw spots instead of trash, and so they came to life, cut, cleaned, painted bold red. Each bottle took on a new role. Dots were added with a sponge, googly eyes glued into place, pipe cleaner antennae curled like curious questions. Their little bodies now sit neatly along the border between garden bed and path, not as guards but as greeters. Children are drawn to them. Grown-ups pause, amused. Some lean closer, thinking at first they're store-bought. But a closer look shows the seams, the brush lines, the imperfect antennae, signs of real hands at work. Making them was as joyful as their result. You don't need anything complex. A bottle, some paint, a sense of play. Let the black dots land wherever they will. They don't need symmetry. They need heart. And once finished, they find their places along the soil like beads on a natural necklace. They're not just decoration. They're conversation. They're teaching tools. They're proof that even the smallest hands, those of children, can help create beauty that lasts longer than a single season. And when morning light hits their backs, they shine, tiny sculptures of joy and reuse. Because in the garden, even bugs can be welcome, especially when they're made of yesterday's waste and today's creativity. They don't hum or bloom or sway in the breeze, but somehow these sparkling bottles bring just as much life to the garden, planted like treasures between petals and leaves. They catch the light in 1,000 quiet ways. Each one started as waste, a soda bottle, a discarded water jug, empty, forgotten. But someone saw the potential for shimmer. With a brush dipped in glue and a patient hand, the glitter came next, flicked, sprinkled, and patted on at every curve. Some bottles were full coats of sparkle, while others carry mosaic fragments like tiny mirrored leaves. Each one dances with the sun or glows with the moon, depending on the hour. By day, they surprise the eye, sunbeams bouncing from their sides into the soil. By night, they seem to hold light within, especially when tea lights are tucked inside. They're not pristine. The glitter isn't always even. Rain has streaked some, and fingers have left smudges, but all that only deepens their charm. This project isn't just visual, it's emotional. There's joy in making something shine again, joy in placing it gently between the marigolds, joy in knowing that beauty doesn't have to come from a store. Visitors often lean in close. "Is this glass?" they ask. "No," you smile, "just a bottle," and a bit of belief. And in that moment, the garden becomes a gallery, a place where forgotten things are forgiven, where glitter finds purpose, where color doesn't just decorate. It declares that everything, even trash, can reflect light. If you listen closely, they almost whisper, "You don't have to be new to be radiant." They don't walk or speak, but they watch. From their little places among the parsley and cosmos, they beam with soft smiles and flower crowns that catch the breeze. These bottle spirits weren't born from perfection. They were born from joy, from a child's curiosity, from a parent's quiet afternoon, from a bottle saved instead of thrown. Each one carries a face, hand drawn with a paint pen, maybe a little crooked, eyes wide with wonder, cheeks blush pink. Some faces laugh wide, others seem shy and thoughtful, but everyone feels present, as if they're not just watching the garden, but listening to it. Atop their painted heads bloom bursts of artificial flowers, daisies, sunflowers, lilies in every shade, not arranged by a florist, but chosen by instinct. What looks fun, what feels right, and somehow it always is. Their pastel bodies, mint sky blue, soft rose, reflect the afternoon light. Some bottles are chipped. Some show old branding beneath the paint. And yet they shine, not because they're flawless, but because they were made with love. These spirits invite questions. Children name them. Visitors kneel for a closer look. And the garden, once quiet, begins to feel like a storybook. Each flower bed watched over by a painted personality, each leaf a page waiting to turn. To make your own, you only need a bottle, some color, a pen, and a crown. Let your hand be unsteady. Let your imagination bloom. And you'll see your garden won't just grow. It will begin to smile back. Because sometimes the kindest guardians come not from stone or steel, but from joy, ribbon, and an old bottle reborn with a grin. In a quiet patch of the backyard, among soft herbs and fluttering leaves, the teddy bears have taken root. They don't hibernate. They don't growl. They simply sit, gentle and warm, their faces painted with kindness, their round bellies full of recycled purpose. These aren't toys forgotten in the grass. They're crafted companions, shaped from plastic bottles once bound for the bin. Each one begins with brown paint, spread over smooth curves and bottle seams, ears cut from foam or cardboard, glued in place like floppy crowns, a snout drawn in soft arcs, googly eyes stuck on a little uneven, but full of story. They look up at the sky, or maybe at you, with expressions that say, "Welcome." Some bears wear bows. Others carry painted hearts or flowers. They come in families, tall bottles for the parents, squat ones for the cubs, nestled into corners of the garden. They bring a kind of quiet cheer, like bedtime songs sung beneath summer stars. The process of making them is as heartening as the final scene. Children get involved, painting, giggling, naming each bear before the glue dries. No two ever turn out the same. One might lean a little. Another might have extra glitter on its snout. But in a garden filled with life and imperfection, they fit right in. These bears don't just decorate. They comfort. They hold space for play, imagination, and a gentle reminder that care can be crafted with our own two hands. Because sometimes the garden doesn't need more blooms. It needs a bear sitting patiently under a sunflower, watching, waiting, reminding us that love, even recycled, never really fades. They don't flicker like candles nor hum like bees, but these gentle hanging bottles, brushed with blossoms, still seem to sing. Suspended beneath trees and pergolas, they dance in silence, petals painted on curved plastic, swaying with the wind's soft sighs. What were they before? Bottles, emptied and forgotten, their labels peeled, their purpose drained. But now they glow, not brightly, not boldly, just enough to be noticed, just enough to remind us that beauty is often quiet. Cherry blossoms curl around their painted sides, some delicate, some wild, their brushed lines following the soft bend of each reused shape. The branches aren't perfect. Some smudge, some petals blur, but it doesn't matter. The imperfections breathe life into the craft. They're tied with ribbon, maybe salvaged from a gift wrap drawer, and hung from whatever tree is willing to hold them. In sunlight, they shimmer faintly. At dusk, they catch the last gold and blush the sky. And when fitted with small solar lights, they become lanterns of memory, glowing long after the garden has gone to sleep. The act of making them feels like poetry in motion. A paintbrush dipped in pink, a deep breath, a steady hand. Then the patient threading of ribbon, the gentle choice of branch. Each bottle a meditation, each blossom a sigh. They don't ask for attention, they just offer presence. Soft joy, a sense of something hand-touched, heart-held. And when you sit beneath them, a warm tea in your hands, petals drifting from above, they remind you, even what was thrown away can learn to bloom again, not just with flowers, but with meaning they've never seen.